Hi there, my name is Jania Otey, and I am going to talk to you today about the importance of incorporating culture into your homeschool. So I'm going to jump right in and share my screen. There we go. So much of my presentation today will be based around Kids and Culture Camp, which I'm going to talk to you in detail about in just a moment. So the pictures you see here are from children that attend Kids and Culture, and this is Mama Monica, one of our teachers over here. So just a little bit of information about myself. Again, my name is Jania Otey, and I'm a homeschooling mama of over 15 years. I have two boys, and I'm an attorney by training. So I'm admitted to practice law in Maryland and DC. I attended Howard University undergrad and for law school, practiced law at a large law firm for a couple years, and then decided to leave the law firm and start my practice from home. I speak regularly regarding homeschool resources and how to get started homeschooling, as well as at a number of ladies' Bible events that are church related. And I'm also the founder and executive director of Kids and Culture Camp. So we're going to have a lot of fun in this session, and I just want to move it on along. So here are a couple of pictures of my family. We're much younger here in this picture. And this is another picture of my family. So what's so exciting about the picture with my son with the graduation cap on is that he recently graduated from high school, homeschooled all of his life. He's just turned 17 and my youngest is 14. And so my 16-year-old graduated in May 2020. He is enrolled full-time at a university where he received the second highest academic scholarship. So he started at age 16. And he actually enrolled this year just one credit shy of being a junior in college. So homeschool mamas, homeschool families, you can do this. He was dual enrolled, and I'm sure that you've heard about that and you may even know something about that, but he's doing very well at the university. He's close to home. I wouldn't want him to go too far away being that young, but let me move right along. So we are going to talk about the importance of incorporating culture into your child's education. And then I'm going to share with you some of the many resources that Kids and Culture has to offer that you can utilize in your own homeschool journey. So let's define culture. What is it anyway? Well, culture is the way of life, customs, traditions, and practices or beliefs of a group of people. And this is a very basic definition that we utilize for our children. Now, our programs focus on children primarily ages 3 to 12. And so we keep our definitions really, really simple. What I often find is that parents make a lot of mistakes when it comes to incorporating culture or failing to incorporating culture into their child's education. Number one, they may rely solely on schools. Now, I'm most likely talking to an audience of homeschoolers, but if you are on the fence about whether to homeschool or whether to put your child back in traditional school, whatever your decision is, you're traditionally schooling your child or you're homeschooling, we should not rely solely on the public school system or private school system to teach our children the importance of cultures and countries from around the world. They need to learn about other people who look like them and people who don't look like them. So parents often make that mistake as they will rely on the public school system or the traditional school system to teach their children about those things. Parents also often make mistakes by only befriending people who look like them. Well, if you're doing that, your children aren't going to feel comfortable when they're around people that have a different shade of skin, different eye color, different hair texture, may dress a little different, have an accent, talk differently. And so that's another mistake parents make. And then we also can perpetuate stereotypes. I once heard a mom say when we were sitting having lunch somewhere like at Chipotle, and one of her younger children told the other child that he could have a French fry. And then he took it back. And the mother said, "Don't be an Indian giver." That is perpetuating stereotypes. I'm sure she didn't even realize what type of stereotype she was perpetuating, but I will leave that to you to do the research. But saying things like that perpetuates stereotypes and it's viewed as negative. So we don't want to do that. Parents also neglect trying different ethnic foods. Like that's a wonderful way to incorporate culture into your child's homeschool journey. Or we neglect or we hide our own family history. Well, why do we do that? Maybe we might feel ashamed or we might uncover something in our family history that we may not be very proud of, but we shouldn't do that. We should teach our children about our family history, even the kind of difficult things. And then parents often make the mistakes of utilizing kind of boring or dull learning methods, particularly when it comes to learning about things that are unfamiliar. And so I don't want you to make those mistakes in your homeschool journey. So why is culture important to incorporate? It's important to incorporate because it's important to learn about other people. Our world is not made up of only people who, and I'm using these terms loosely, black or white, or have this color skin or that's color skin. Our world is made up of all types of people. And so we incorporate culture into our education because we want our children to learn the importance of appreciating people who I said before look like them and people who don't look like them. And then they can also make connections. You know, we have things in common with each other. Even though we may have some differences, we eat some of the same foods, they just might be prepared a little differently. We use some of the same spices. There are lots of different cultural connections that can be made to embrace our similarities. And that's what I want you to think about as we go through this session. Culture is also important because we need to celebrate our differences. Now, sometimes people view differences as negative, but that's not what we do at Kids and Culture. And I should have said from the outset, Kids and Culture Camp is it's an educational enrichment program company for children. We have camps, we have a bunch of different resources for families, and I'll talk about those a little bit later, but I just wanted you to have a general understanding of what Kids and Culture Camp is. It's based in Washington, D.C. And our flagship program, we started off creating and offering in-person camp experiences for children ages 3 to 12. So let's continue on with why culture is important. So it's important to incorporate culture into your child's education because it increases their comfort level. Don't you want your children to be comfortable around people who may not look like them, even people who may look like them, but might be from a different place? So it increases their comfort level with people from around the world. And this promotes love. I know that that may sound a little sappy, but I completely believe that when we expose our children to other countries and cultures, and we show them that the beautiful things and the rich history of other places and people, that promotes love and healing. And isn't that what our world needs more of? We need more love, definitely. Incorporating culture is also important because it decreases or alleviates prejudices. And so if we are familiar with a person or familiar with an area and we've learned about a certain group of people, we won't have certain prejudices, or we may not develop these certain thoughts in our minds or these stereotypes because we've actually been around them, we've hung out with them, we've studied about them and their culture. And so it just makes things exciting, and it decreases, I believe, and can alleviate prejudices. It also promotes unity. So we can see how the world is divided on so many different things, but our children need to see and understand that we can be unified in many, many different aspects, and learning to appreciate people who look like them and people who don't can promote that unity. Learning about culture and people from around the world also promotes positive social interaction. So we're not going to be uncomfortable or uneasy around people who look different or talk different or sound different or dress different. In fact, it should pique our curiosity to ask some questions so we can learn more about them and learn about their culture and their history and their upbringing. Culture is also important because it broadens our sense of awareness, and it makes us sensitive, to certain issues that our children may learn about when they get a little bit older. And it also helps promote socially conscious children. So children who are aware of their surroundings, they're aware of events, they're aware of, important historical things, they're aware of certain traditions that may take place. or that are practiced in a particular culture or country. And then again, it promotes sensitivity and understanding. Culture also equips our children for the diverse world that we live in. And our children can ultimately grow up to positively impact the world in just an incredible way. And I believe that that can happen when we teach our children at an early age and when we incorporate culture at an early age, positive aspects of culture at an early age with our children. All right, so culture is also important because these are the three main words that I like to look at. It promotes love, respect, and appreciation from people all over. And these little dolls here, I think, are just a great example of that. So let's talk about Kids and Culture Camp in particular. So these mamas that you see here in this picture, they all have home educated their children, some from birth, some all the way through high school graduation, some part of the time, but most of the mamas in the picture actually homeschooled their children from birth. And these are the women that helped me start Kids and Culture Camp. So Kids and Culture Camp was founded in 2010, in March of 2010. And the first camp that we held was on the campus of Howard University. So when my son was about 2 years old, I started researching camps in the DC area where I lived at the time. And I was pretty disappointed with their offerings because they were either singular in focus, like math, science, or sports, but I did not see a camp that encompassed everything that I wanted to expose my child to during the summer months. And one of the main things was learning to appreciate people from countries and cultures from around the world. And then I wanted him to learn about chess and African drumming and to experience these amazing field trips. And so Kids and Culture Camp was born in March 2010 by myself and the mamas that I showed you in the previous slide. Our first camp was held on the campus of Howard University. We had about 75 campers. And this picture of the boys here just embodies what Kids and Culture is about, because you see boys here of different ethnicities. And guess what? They love each other. They had fun. They learned about each other's backgrounds and other backgrounds. And it's just an amazing experience. And that's what we want for our children. So incorporating culture, again, is just extremely important. And the mission of Kids and Culture is to inspire children to love learning, embrace culture, and to live mindfully. So in this picture here, you see children, some of our campers, and they've learned about Uganda, and they're holding up the Uganda flag. Kids and Culture offers online camps and in-person camps. We did the online camps primarily during the pandemic. We've moved back to in-person camps, but we have expanded our online offerings during the school year. So our in-person camps normally take place in the months of June and July in Washington, DC. The children will learn about a different country or culture each week. It's a 4-week day camp for children ages 3 to 12. But we also, out of this, developed a self-paced course or an open and go course. It's called Culture Quest. So I'll talk about that in more detail. So no matter where you are in the world, your children can learn about countries and cultures that we offer through Kids and Culture through our self-paced course. And then we have live online homeschool classes, and I'll talk about those as well. And we also work with and partner with schools and private organizations. So we have taught culture classes to some public schools, some private schools, some charter schools, and also some private organizations like Jack and Jill of America. So if you have an organization or a club and you like culture classes taught, we can definitely do that. So this is just another picture from camp, and the culture of Kids and Culture Camp is just a very loving, friendly environment, caring environment, because the camp was founded by moms, and we all love children and treat each person's child as if they are our own, of course, with some limitations. And so we want that love to come across in even our online programming and the resources that we offer. And this is Mama Jessica in the picture here. So one thing I want you to know is that you need to be intentional about incorporating culture into your child's education. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You're not going to purchase some textbooks and it's just going to be incorporated right there in the pages for you. You have to make an intentional decision that you want to incorporate culture into your child's education. And there are so many different ways to do this. So the main thing that I want you to think about when you're incorporating culture is to make the learning fun. Like that is one of the main pillars of kids and culture, is that children love the process of learning. If you are homeschooling your child, no matter what they are doing, as difficult as it may be, you need to make learning math fun. And so we really stress making the learning environment fun and the learning process. And in this picture, our campers are learning to make steel pan drums. And you see Mama Jessica smile, and the kids actually used that when they were learning about Trinidad and Tobago and some of the instruments that were being played. This is a field trip to the zoo. There's so much you can do there. If you're visiting a zoo somewhere, you can go on a scavenger hunt and you're studying a particular country and have the children find animals that are indigenous to particular countries. And so we incorporate field trips into our in-person camps, and they usually complement whatever countries that we're studying for that week. We also want children to embrace culture. So what do we mean by that? We want them to welcome culture. We want them to be excited about learning about culture. And so we're not just looking at pictures or reading stories. We actually bring in people who are from the particular countries that we are studying. So the campers, so our children can actually meet them and learn about their customs and traditions directly from them. And so these ladies came in from Thailand, and they did a wonderful performance for our campers, and they were very excited. Art is another way that you can incorporate culture into your child's education. In this picture here, and the campers learned about indigenous peoples to the United States. And so they learned about different Native American nations and their habitats and their way of life. And you can make that come alive through different art projects. This is Baba C. He is the best griot, the best storyteller ever. And so the children also experience African storytelling and folk tales. And he brings in his djembe, and they get to learn how to play that a little bit as well. So these are ways that we help children embrace culture, and even living mindfully. So this is another pillar of Kids and Culture Camp. We want the children to take what they're learning about the countries and cultures, to see the similarities and differences and the connections, but how they can use those things they're learning and apply them in their everyday life to live better lives, to be more healthy. And so we incorporate yoga, we incorporate, different PE activities, but what's really awesome is that the children learn how to play whatever sports are popular in that particular culture that we're studying. Cooking is a wonderful way to incorporate culture into your child's education, and we actually have developed a cookbook over the years. And so in our in-person camp, the children learn how to make a traditional dish from whatever country we are studying. And over the years, we've developed these great recipes, and they're vegan recipes. They're free of most of the common allergens, because we're very mindful of that. And so this is another way that you can incorporate culture into your child's education, by just pick a dish once a month from a country that you're studying and make that dish with your child. And of course, this resource is available to you, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. This is another picture of our campers learning about different herbs and spices in the garden. And this is part of the Live Mindfully. So as you homeschool your child, I want you to think about, some of the things that your children are most interested in, and incorporate those things into their studies. If they're interested in architecture, do some research on which countries have the most amazing architecture. You can incorporate these things into your unit studies. They can reenact people. They can become a certain person. They can do some research on a notable person in a particular country. They need to write a speech or a play or a poem, and you can incorporate this into their projects as well. Mapping people with pictures. So if you have a big map or even a small map, Just identify a particular country or region, and let's research what those people look like in that region. Let's research the type of clothing they wear, traditional clothing, the type of foods they eat. And then you might have some neighbors or church members or friends. Just ask them about their family history. People are usually willing to share about their own family history and their experiences with you when you ask. Incorporating culture can be done also by making sure that you have a diverse set of books. Now, you're going to have to dig a little bit when you go to the library or online. You want to find books with pictures of children that are of different ethnicities and from different places. So be very careful in your photo choices. Just make sure that you are exposing your child to an array of photos and pictures of different people. And of course, through travel. So if you're road tripping, whether you're in the United States or you're someplace else, map out where you're going, have your children locate on a map the state or country that you're traveling to. You can talk about how long it will take you to get there. If there are particular landmarks in that country, you can research the history and the people who settled there first. Did you know that about 27, I think it's 27 states in the United States were actually named after the indigenous peoples to the United States. And so either named after them or the languages that they speak. And then extracurricular activities, wonderful way to incorporate culture into your child's education. They could learn a martial art, they can take a cooking class. So you can incorporate culture through many different avenues. And I just want you to think outside the box when it comes to this. Pen pals is another great way. There are lots of Facebook groups and other groups where you can sign up to have a pen pal from a different country, and then incorporating foreign languages into your child's education. I did this when my boys were younger. They took Spanish and American Sign Language. The bad thing is I didn't keep up with it. And so I think it's important that our children, if we can, help them learn a second language or third language. That would be awesome. And then again, cooking and learning how to make traditional ethnic foods. And if you don't want to cook yourself, although you can incorporate measuring and how to read instructions and temperatures, there's so many homeschool aspects that you can incorporate when you're cooking. If you don't want to do that, then just go visit an ethnic restaurant. We love Indian food. We love Ethiopian food, Mediterranean food. There's so many different choices out there. And if you're in an area that doesn't have those different choices, when you do travel, seek those out so your children will have those experiences as well. Nature exploration is great. You can learn about different flowers. You can learn about the national flower of a particular country, herbs that are traditionally grown in countries. Did you know that pumpkins, the country that is the #1 producer of pumpkins is China. So that's a fact that probably a lot of people don't know. So you can go outside and just explore nature and incorporate culture as you do that as well. So these are some of our campers doing just that in one of the gardens at one of our partner schools. Traditional dress is really, really fun, particularly for girls. It can be fun for boys too. I just get more comments from girls, but learning about the traditional dress and clothing in a particular country is really exciting for a lot of children. Learning how to even wear African head wraps, as this instructor is showing some of our campers here, that's really, really fun. And just the significance behind the traditional dresses, because there are reasons why people are clothed the way they are, and it represents something about their culture. And so you can definitely research that. You can just get fabric at home and kind of recreate those dress up moments. We already talked about incorporating art and how you can do that. So it's a picture here. And then how we have people that are indigenous to the particular countries or cultures come in and talk to our campers. And so this is a mom with her daughter, and she is from Mongolia. She did a wonderful presentation for our campers. And then in this picture here, this is a gentleman who is from Uganda, and he is a very well-known author and illustrator. He just does some really, really amazing work. Solomon Jagwe is his name, and he publishes children's books, animated stories. He's on YouTube. And so he came in and talked to our campers about Ugandan culture. Now, if you aren't able to connect with people from different countries and cultures in your particular state or your region, you could perhaps look at cultural centers. If you have like a Chinese cultural center, Ethiopian cultural center, or if you have an embassy that's nearby. Embassies are great in terms of having tours, and there's usually some type of embassy festivals that go on throughout the year. So I would look into those as well. And here we go. Here are the embassies. This picture, it's a little blurry here, but our campers were able to meet the embassy head of the embassy at this time. I can't remember his name, is escaping me right now, but this is a picture of him with our campers, the ambassador of the embassy. I was lost of words for a minute. And in Washington, D.C., obviously, there's a lot of really cool places that the kids can go on field trips. And again, sports, learning how to incorporate sports and the sports that are traditionally played in different countries. India, did you know that wrestling is a main sport in India? And so that's what our campers are learning how to do in this picture here. And then we also incorporate capoeira, which is a Brazilian martial art, into our in-person programming. So they learn how to do that as well. Okay, so music is another way to incorporate culture into your child's education, and we call it positive vibrations. So you can go on YouTube, there's lots of different websites you can go to, and you can just Google, music in Haiti, or music in Argentina, or music in France, and just have your children listen to them and look at some of the instruments that are being played, and if they've seen those instruments in the country or state where you are. Our children also participate in African drumming during our in-person camp, and this is a father from Trinidad and Tobago who gave a presentation, and the kids are learning how to play the steel drums. And then this is Lynn, one of our fabulous teachers, who's helping a camper on his djembe as he learns to do African drumming. Again, skits and role-playing, dressing up is another awesome way to incorporate culture. This is cooking. This is a picture from our cookbook. This is a delicious one where the children made teepee cones in honor of the indigenous peoples of America. And then science, history, math, and geography. Very easy to incorporate culture with those subjects, because you can research notable scientists, you can research countries or areas that have volcanoes, and what is the science behind a volcano. Obviously, there are lots of historical facts that are important that you could highlight as you incorporate it into your through your history lessons. And math, currency is a great way, like learning about what money and currency is called in different countries, and even researching and studying the different presidents that are on the bills of different countries. I just recently learned that one of the countries, it's going to escape me right now, I think it's Thailand, but before they used bills, I can't remember what it is right now, it's escaping me, but it's important that you look at the currency for different countries and different places, and it can be very fun. And then geography, of course, just learning how to read a map and identifying different countries and cultures on a map. And then the sports, which I mentioned, is important. In Argentina, one of the main sports in Argentina back in the day involved a live duck. Yes, so these are like really cool fun facts that you can research with your children. It's kind of a mix between polo and basketball. And when the sport first started, they would actually chase after a live duck and try to scoop it up and get it in this net. So they don't use live ducks anymore, but that's a really cool fun fact that children would probably be interested in seeing. Resource list. So compiling a resource list when you come across things on the internet regarding books or websites, those are very important. Book suggestions that other people may have. We have a ton of book suggestions that we give out through our online programs, through our self-paced programs that are age appropriate for the kids, lots of websites that parents can utilize to continue your study on cultural education. And then, there are tough issues that we need to tackle when we're dealing with culture, because there's a lot of colonization, there's a lot of oppression and resistance but you as the parent teacher have to balance what is appropriate for teaching your child. At Kids and Culture, we celebrate um, our differences and our similarities, and we try to balance what the children learn about resistance and oppression. So they are going to learn about it, but they're going to learn about it in an appropriate way that's not scary to them, but still gives them the truth about what's happened in history. All right, so here's the Kids and Culture Camp cookbook. This is available on our website. This is the 1.0 version. It's available as an ebook, as a download. We are working on our 2.0 version, which will include additional recipes, and that will be available in print very soon. This is one of the recipes, a Ghanaian stew that the children learned how to make when we studied Ghana. And this is banana fritters, another dish that the children learned how to make when we were studying one of the Caribbean islands. And this is some of our campers as they were preparing for what we call Festival Friday, when the children showcase a portion of what they've learned throughout the week. So this is an old flyer, it's from 2022, but I just wanted to give you just a quick idea of what our camps are like. So coming back after the pandemic, instead of a 4-week program, we did a 2-week program, and the children studied Tanzania's treasured traditions and also Belize's beautiful brilliance. So throughout the day, they will have 3 cultural lessons, 2 to 3 cultural lessons. They will have chess, water play, they will have African drumming, they will have a cultural cooking class, they will have some type of PE, outdoor play, and then we have guest speakers that come in, they have martial arts, this whole bunch that they get to do, lots of art. We're very, very much art infused. So I know some parents that are planning that don't live in the Washington, DC area, but they're planning to come from other states to attend Kids and Culture. In the past 13 years, this is year number 13 that we've been in existence, parents have come from at least 7 to 8 different states to enroll their children in Kids and Culture camps. So if you're interested, check it out. Go to kidsandculture.com. We will be posting our 2023 summer schedule probably by December, 1st of January, no later. So I wanted to also share with you some of our other programs for those who may not be able to attend our in-person program. This particular program is called, it's our homeschool classes, our live homeschool classes. And so we've mapped out the whole year of our live online classes. And we just finished studying Beautiful Bolivia. It's for children up to grade 6. And so probably around 5 or 6 and up to grade 6, we have a wonderful Montessori teacher who teaches the lessons. And so she's very experienced at teaching to children of different age levels. It's a one week, it meets 1 time a week. And this year we're meeting on Wednesdays from 12 to 1 Central Time and 1 to 2 Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. And so the children will learn about the art, history, geography, notable landmarks, people. You'll receive a family resource packet, which has extension of learning activities. It provides you with the learning objectives for the classes, and enrollment is open. And so if you want to jump into our November class, Studying Amazing Angola, that starts November 9th. If you want to jump into our Incredible Iceland class, that starts in January, and Harmonious Hawaii starts in March. And so we encourage you to register early to receive a discount, but all the information is on kidsandculture.com. And once you're on our main website, you can scroll down to homeschool classes. All right, now this one is a treat. This is called Homeschool in a Hurry. It is a course that I created for parents who are learning how to get started homeschooling, or who kind of need some fresh ideas regarding homeschooling. Because I talk to so many parents on a weekly basis and monthly basis about homeschooling, since I've done it for such a long time, I tried to put everything in this brain of mine into this course to tell you and help you on how to get started homeschooling, from how to research the homeschool laws to creating a schedule, to making sure that you understand your children's learning styles, how to structure your day, schedule suggestions, just a lot of information, questions about how to incorporate extracurricular activities. Can my child play sports with the school district? How do I go about doing that? Standardized testing I cover, just all of that. And so if you know someone or if you yourself have questions about homeschooling or kind of where to start, or how to structure your Homeschool in a Hurry is for you. So you would go to kidsandculture.com on our main page and click get homeschooling help or look for Homeschool in a Hurry. This is only $27. And I keep it at that price. Primarily, I've kept it at that price because my intention is not to make money. I want to share the knowledge that I have with as many people as possible. And I just get so many calls and questions about homeschooling. It is here. So it is a online course. You will log into the portal. I have really short videos that you can watch. You can skip to different subject matters or topics. And then you also receive a weekend workbook and a choosy checklist. So the weekend workbook guides you through journaling, many of your thoughts, recording how you're going to organize things, but I guide you through each question. And then the choosy checklist is actually a checklist of items that you need to have in order to get started homeschooling in 7 days or less, or to refine your homeschooling journey. And as a bonus, I also include some sample homeschool transcripts in there. But I talk about cover schools, just pretty much every topic that you would want covered. It's definitely talked about in Homeschool in a Hurry. $27, go to kidsandculture.com and look for homeschool help. All right, so Culture Quest. So in addition to our live online culture classes, we also have our open and go lessons or self-paced course. So this is what Culture Quest is. It allows your child to learn about different countries and cultures as if they were at our in-person camp, but it's online and you can log in anytime you want to. If there's time, I will go through the portal and show you that on the back end. But these are some of the countries that we have created for the open and go lessons: Uganda's unique unity, bountiful Brazil, grasping Ghana's greatness, enjoying Jamaica's jewels, Argentina's amazing adventures, Zimbabwe's zesty Zambezi. And so we are adding to the portal on a regular basis. The lessons are broken down into smaller lesson portions, smaller video segments so the children can watch them. They're taught by our phenomenal teachers, KCC, Kids and Culture Camp teachers, and they're very interactive. There are assessment questions. At the end, there is what we call a global activities guide, which I believe I have a picture of coming up. Yes, it comes with a global activities guide, and in the global activities guide, it has a bunch of extension of learning activities. So we'll have maps of the countries, writing prompts and exercises, and we even incorporate a culture craft because Kids and Culture is very, very art infused. And this is an example of what it looks like inside the portal. So lesson 1 is on geography, and then they'll have a quiz. Lesson 2 is history and culture, and there's a quiz. And we're breaking these down. This one might be like a 30 to 45-minute lesson, but we're going back through and we're breaking those down into like 5-minute segments to make it easier for the children. So we also have the assessment questions built in. So if your child is not a reader, they can actually just click on the button here and the question will be read to them. What is the largest country on the South American continent? And then they can click these arrows here and the answer choices will populate so that they can select the correct answer. So that is just a wonderful way to incorporate culture into your child's education. And if you'd like to learn more about Kids and Culture Camp and Kids and Culture's offerings, we'd love to connect with you. You can send us an email at hello@kidsandculture.com, or you can connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Kids and Culture Camp. So I hope this presentation was helpful to you. We have a ton of resources, wonderful educators that we can connect you with, and a wonderful, wonderful homeschool community. And I just challenge you and encourage you to incorporate culture into your child's education, starting at an early age. And if your child is older, it's never too late to start. They will appreciate you for doing it, and it will help them broaden their sense of awareness, and it will help the world be a better place. Kidsandculture.com. Connect with us. Send me any questions you have, and I appreciate your time.